You're listening to the Caramel Apples Podcast, the apple snack that brings you a retro vibe, both crunchy and sweet, with your hosts, Kennedy Rizzo and Cooper Lee. Hey there, Coop. How are you doing?
I'm doing really very well today. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. So, here we are again. It's apple snack time. And this week, we're going to be talking about something that's very nostalgic, and that's of commercial jingles, like retro commercial jingles.
Right? Oh, you talk about something that'll take you back in a quick second. That is a jingle.
Isn't that the truth?
It really is. I mean,
Yeah.
you can just out of nowhere start humming a tune. You're like, wait a minute, that was from the 80s. What? Where's that coming from right now?
Yeah, the mind is amazing when you do reach back for things. And like you said, sometimes it is completely effortless.
Yeah, and a lot of times, it gets started from something will snowball into one other topic and it'll just keep going. So then
Hmm.
it opens like the floodgates,
Yes.
when you start reminiscing. So cool.
So we have a nice treat for our orchard archivers this week. So the floodgates are going to open to some of our our memories from back then concerning commercial jingles, and we'll see how many of them here in the next few minutes we can come up with and share with our listeners. How about that?
I like the idea. Let's go.
Okay, well, you get started. Which ones can you think of that you can remember and enjoyed?
Okay. Well, I would have to say one that comes to mind, and it's probably because, when we were younger, I remember dad used Old Spice, but he also used Speed Stick. That was, the deodorant of choice for him. Don't you
Yes.
remember? It was by Menon.
I do.
Short and sweet, I guess.
Right, I do remember that. Oh my gosh.
Which then would
Yeah.
take you to, do you remember Air It Extra Dry?
Yes, I do. Yes. Yeah, I think they had like this couple outline of a couple. They were blacked out,
Yeah.
walking into the sunset or something, like holding hands like they were on a date or just enjoying time together. And then that's what they'd be like, get a little closer with air it extra dry.
Yeah, that probably was happening a lot on these little camping trips.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
They had the
Yeah.
sunset, no doubt. So.
Yeah, they're like, pick the right deodorant. It's crucial.
Oh man. But like speaking about that, like the camping trips and stuff, it just seemed like back in the I don't know if it was early 70s too, but like in the 70s and definitely in the 80s. It was all about having a good time. Like you had like TV shows like Chips, they would show their downtime. This is us when we're cool.
Yeah.
So, you know, then it's like there's a juicy fruit commercial waiting to happen.
Juicy fruit.
And those commercials were so cheesy. But it was always people just having an awesome time.
Yes, and it's funny you referenced Chips because that was definitely how the show was set up. Like they were, like you said, they were parasailing or
Yes.
motorcycling. They were racing. They're all having a good time. They're all friends. These are the same people they gave tickets to earlier in the show. It's like, hey, you want to go out on a date? And then they're parasailing, chewing juicy fruit.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So
Oh,
another thing I remember that I think it was on a beach or something. It was like a beach party. There was a soft drink named Mellow Yellow.
Mellow yellow. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Remember? You remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah. And back then, back when we were kids, like, like now they have the 20 ounces, like even 2 liters, they'll have those at stores. Like, but like people, their go-to is either fountain drinks,
Yeah.
like they get all, they can get so many ounces in it. Like if
Yeah.
they'll just grab, 20 ounces or whatever, and that suffices. But like back then, we had these bottles. We actually had bottles. Um, and they were almost like a beer bottle, but a little thicker.
Yes.
And you had to, pop the top. You had to get these, the bottle caps off. It hurts your hand if you try to do it that way.
Right?
And then you can recycle or get these things, turn them back in, for like a little money, but they recycled them, put more soda in for later. But that was the era of mellow yellow.
Yeah. Do you remember the jingle to it?
I do. It was mellow yellow makes you feel so good so fast from the head down to your toes.
Oh.
Yeah, and they'd all be at the beach party, and they were just like, yeah, go, 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 and she was tearing this up, and mellow yellow was just basically like a knockoff or probably a commoner friendly version of
Mountain
Mountain
Dew.
Dew. Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I do remember mellow yellow.
Oh yeah, and they would probably be washing down their two all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Crack, crack. Oh yeah, McDonald's has always been around. McDonald's has
They
always been a
really
winner for people.
have. They have.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know. Oh my goodness.
Like their food, I mean, like neither one of us are really big McDonald's fans per se.
No.
But there is the allure of a good jingle.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so if you're singing about Big Macs and what's on them in this very contagious, catchy way, would that not trigger somebody to want to go out and get one? Like they might not want a Big Mac or something from McDonald's initially,
Yeah.
or this is with anything commercial, but once you put that's what companies do. They put that into their consumers' minds,
Mm-hmm.
and now you feel like you have to have that. Probably something you might not have naturally wanted or went to go buy, but now you're like, well, that doesn't sound so bad. So
Exactly.
next you find
Yeah. All
yourself
the
in the drive-through getting a Big Mac and some fries.
yeah, they get your juices flowing. Yeah, it
Yeah.
works. It works. Like you said, McDonald's has been around forever and it's always busy. Somebody's
Oh,
always at McDonald's.
oh, totally, totally. Yeah, I mean, they always act like they're hurting financially. Like where? They're everywhere.
They really are. But since we were kids back then at that time, you know, I was thinking, do you remember there was um there was these bigger dolls for children. And they made it kids friendly for boys and for girls. They had the My Buddy doll and the Kid Sister doll. Do you remember
Yes, I do. Yes,
them? And
yes.
they didn't really think outside of the box too much, because they used the same song, just replaced it with
I-
whichever doll product they were talking about. But they were really pandering for kids, and it was successful because you can still sing that song. We won't do it right now, but we can still remember that song.
Yeah, I do remember that. And those were pretty popular dolls at the time.
They really were.
But then another thing, because kids were a large target audience for commercial jingles, were cereals.
Yes.
And a couple of them that, like we had actually talked about that in our breakfast cereals we missed episode back a few weeks ago. We talked about Super Golden Crisp,
Yes.
and that was a nice. We actually sang it poorly, in that episode, but it worked, and we remembered that from when we were really small.
Right.
But another one that we didn't cover in that topic that day was honeycomb,
Yes.
you know. And so how's that one go there, Coop?
Honeycomb's big. I should try to
Yeah,
do it in
yeah.
the kids' voice. Honeycomb's big. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's not small. No,
No,
no, no.
no, no. That's the one.
That might be scary for some of our listeners. I apologize. I'm truly sorry.
No, she's not. Me either. They like it.
We just
No, but
crazy.
seriously, like, those that's what made kids tugging on their mom and dad, at the grocery store. I gotta have that cereal, or I want that soft drink, or I want that candy.
Absolutely. And honeycomb actually reminded me of a toy. I can't remember exactly what they were called. It might have even been in the Lincoln Log set, but it looked like what you would connect sticks into, as it was in like a
Oh,
builder erector set. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I do. It was wood.
Yes. It reminded me of the honeycomb.
I think all of our friends had this toy too. Like we'd play with these toys you're talking about, like at their house.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the official name of the set. Yeah, it was like a building blocks type set, and it was neat.
Yeah. And you just like use smallish sticks, like they were like straw size and they were
Mm-hmm.
different colors, and you'd stick them into these wheels that look like honeycombs.
Yeah, yeah, I do remember that. So then we have, you think about like strawberry shortcake, My Little Pony. Then you think
Oh,
about
yes, yes.
um the actual one of our old school toy stores that was back in the 70s and 80s was Children's Palace.
Absolutely. That was definitely an 80s thing, 70s and
Yeah,
80s thing, an
yeah,
actual store like that. Because I think all of those have really taken a nosedive, if they're even still around.
yeah. And if they do, they pop back up because that, retro everything is, trending hot right now. So, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe somebody out there got this idea to go, oh, we'll put a new spin on that, and hey, we'll call it Children's Palace, like nobody's heard of it before. Nope, sorry, I never heard about it. No, no,
Yep.
no.
Been there, done that.
But that one goes Children's Palace, a super toy store, and a whole
Oh, a
lot
lot
more.
more. Yes. And what would you find at Children's Palace? Games like Hungry Hungry Hippos by Milton Bradley.
By Milton Bradley. But then, like the kids were their little test subjects at the time. They go back to the adults, and they have car jingles and
Yes, they did.
and of course, you can get them with restaurants and stuff. But like there was Toyota, Honda. There was, oh, what was the one we talked about it when we were researching? You had mentioned one.
The one Heartbeat of America for
Yes,
Chevy.
yes.
Yeah. For the longest time, I thought that was Huey Lewis in the News. I really did. I thought that was him. I think it might have been the connection of maybe thinking because he mentioned Detroit in one of his songs. I don't know, but I thought that was him, but I don't think it was.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious, Coop.
Oh boy, I don't know if it's hilarious or scary that that you don't connect some certain dots. It is
Right?
what it is. But also for adults, you know, I don't know if it was so big back then as it is right now, especially, in the height of the pandemic. Everybody was, doing overhauls on their homes. But there's one commercial that still has stood the test of time, that still runs on commercials now, and that is 588-2300 Empire today. And it was funny because my hubby did not grow up where we did, but from where he was from, he remembered this commercial from back then too. So I don't know how far and wide this chain was, or if it was maybe
Mm,
just franchise, but he knew it from a kid.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. And then they were trying to, be ahead of the curve by baking their phone number into their jingle, which we still hear it today. So obviously it works.
It still works, yes.
Oh
Well,
my goodness. This was a nice apple snack this week. It was nice to just go back for a few minutes and and think about some of the different commercial jingles we remember from when we were younger.
Yeah, and I hope it got some juices flowing out there. I hope that we jog some memories at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you orchard archivers, do you remember any commercial jingles that are near and dear to your heart and memories? If you can think of some of those, hit us up. We'd love to hear some of what you cherish. So we'd be eager to hear what you got.
Absolutely. And that's it for this week's Apple Snack. But as you know, there's always more where that came from. So stay tuned. Subscribe, review, and spread the word. See you next time in the Retro Orchard, and thanks so much for listening.